G'day, film fans. I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to keep us honest and make sure we don't say anything negative, if we do say anything negative, you're going to hear this sound. And that means we have to drink because it's a drinking game. So it's just the two of us tonight. Jeff's not with us. He has a gig. Apparently he's the wine glass bubble stripper for the Twitter staff party. So we... All six of them are going to be there.
Aw, Jeffrey, we miss you.
We do. But, you know, we play while he's away. So let's start with our obligatory shot.
Here we go.
Pour yourselves a glass. Sit back and we're going to discuss whether or not this can replace Die Hard as the ultimate Christmas movie.
The ultimate Christmas movie. Die Hard meets Home Alone is the pitch on this thing. We're talking about Violent Night, but first let me just shout out some sponsors really quickly.
Yeah.
Carlos Barroso, cbarroso.beer. He is our beer sponsor. You can follow to that handle for all this fun beer information. Got some videos, some little tutorial things, a bunch of really good Instagram spreads on all of his brewing adventures. cbarroso.beer. And the music on this episode and every single episode is provided by the artist Dasein. That's Dasein, Dasein. You can find their music on all the normal music platforms. Go there, download everything for free, enjoy yourself.
We also have a link to that on our link tree as well. Takes you straight to
links to all these things on our link tree, which you can find in our show notes. Dave has put the time and energy into that to make it very, very, very simple for you to navigate all of our social media stuff. Come at us, give us some shit, give us some gripes, give us some love, whatever the fuck you want to do. We'll get back to you.
While we're on that subject, we got a bit of an interesting review pop up today. It was Love, the Love of Cinema. They gave us 5 stars. And they said they're almost as good as Matt and Mark Movie Show. Almost. Now,
I wonder.
Two things. First of all, misquoting aliens. So, you know. And second of all, who the fuck's the Matt and Mark Movie Show?
I don't know. We never talk about them.
Yeah.
We don't ever bring it up.
No.
We certainly haven't had each of those men on this show multiple times.
They sound like binge drinkers to me.
You know what? Just ranting movie podcasting lunatics, dude.
No, we've had those guys on the show a lot.
Come back on our show. We're basically just scratching backs all the time. We wish we want to be on their show. They want to be on our show. We fucking love it. We talk about their show. They talk about our show. It is funny. We are like cousins in a sense. And they are much more highbrow than we are. They are on a whole other intellectual level.
Yes.
For sure.
And a whole other length for an episode. With that,
yeah, 3 of our episodes. But they are fucking hilarious. Matt and Mark Movie Show. Give them some love. Oh. Did you guys review us? Was that y'all, or was that one of your minions that you sent onto our socials?
Yeah. What's happened there? We'll find out.
I want to bring this up too, just because Dave's Jeff's not here.
Is this a gripe?
This is actually it's
because we do a little gripe time just to get some stuff off our chest. So you got 60 seconds, or you get buzzed. Here you go.
Go for it. If anyone who is watching our YouTube page, this is me griping just a little bit about our co-host, Jeff Ostermuller, who used that little AI thing to turn yourself into an AI character. Yeah. I recommend going to just search this man, Jeff Ostermuller. You can find him on the socials. Enjoy his spread of photos that the AI turned him into. Jeff, you look fucking beautiful.
Did he have to type in a little bit? Just did he have to type in turn me into a 90s boy band character?
I mean, dude, that is so fucking funny. So I'm griping because you're not here so I can make fun of you in fucking person about this shit. Where are you, bro? We miss you. That's hilarious. Everybody enjoy yourself. I don't have a serious gripe this week. Dave, what else? You got anything?
I got a little bit of a one. So we'll start that. AMC Times Square is off the hook this week. Okay. I'm targeting Netflix. Because as I mentioned last week, I started watch Manifest, which I was a big fan of when the show was on. It's kind of like Lost. It's, you know, it's a little bit of a mystery and it's like very mystical and shit. And they got cancelled and Netflix picked them up for a final season. So Netflix has billed this as Manifest, the final season. And there's 10 episodes. And I rattled through those things and I got to episode 10 and I'm like, shit, this is the wrap up. This is the good thing. And it gets to the end of episode 10 and there's this big fucking scene and it's all dramatic and shit. And then it goes to black. New episodes coming in 2023. fuck right off. If you're labeling that the final season, you put the fucking final season on. You don't put half the fucking final season. This is almost as bad as when I landed in LAX and the Pinkberry wasn't there and it was on the map.
They keep doing it, dude, don't they? They did it with Stranger Things. They did it with what else? They split another thing without really telling us, didn't they? It was something before Stranger Things, and they just
I can't remember. But
just fucking milking it. Good gripe. Yes, I totally agree with that.
I was so mad.
Yeah, not cool. You also, I mean, don't they know that, like, look, for all serials, we all enjoy turning the page and like we get to enjoy something next, but you go into a final season with a different mindset as an audience member, don't you? Yeah. You're ready for, like, you're counting down you're seeing how things wrap up. Take something out of it, doesn't it? It deflates it a little bit.
I did think at the start of episode 10, they've got a lot to fucking cover. But yeah, little did I know, they do still have a lot to cover. I mean, I get more episodes, but yeah.
Annoying.
Anyway, moving on.
All right, moving on. Welcome back, folks. We are talking about, if you can't tell from the episode title, a little new Christmas movie hoping to become your new Christmas classic, Violent Night. It is, here we go. I got it. Directed by Tommy Wirkola, written by Pat Casey and Josh Miller. Pat Casey and Josh Miller looks like they are the writers of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, as well as some other stuff. But I think those are probably their biggest credits that they have to their names. So trying to work out a little action comedy here. Let me give you the blurb so we can all be on the same page in case you haven't seen any trailers, or there are billboards all over this town of David Harbour on the poster that you see that's at the IMDb page. So people have been chit-chatting about this movie here in LA for a while. Here's the blurb. When a group of mercenaries attack the estate of a wealthy family, Santa Claus must step in to save the day. Parentheses, and Christmas, close parentheses. That is this movie. That is this fucking movie. It is. I've heard the pitch. I mentioned it earlier. I've heard people saying it's kind of like Home Alone meets Die Hard. Meets every other family Christmas movie. There's other. I mean, the good thing about Christmas that is
it is there is absolutely a family Christmas element to it, but this is like a blatant, a blatant Die. You can see Die Hard all over it. You can see Home Alone all over it, and this is one of those rare films that actually credits its influences in the movie. Like, they get a mention during the film. It's like everybody knows what they're doing. They've taken, and it's, Die Hard with the violence cranked up a little bit, and Home Alone if it was absolutely realistic and you're watching two murders. So
yeah,
it's, they cracked that up, mashed it together, bookended it with a family film almost.
Yeah.
And with a couple of other plot threads through it. What did you think? Did you have fun?
I thought I just saw this, by the way, folks. I didn't get to see it in IMAX. I saw it in like a normal format, but the tongue is firmly in the cheek for a lot of this movie. So this is what I'll say. This is not a movie that anyone needs to see, but if you want a Christmas movie with those kind of elements, I think you'll probably end up having a good time. It's the only thing that I think is problematic about these, what we keep hearing about Home Alone and Die Hard and stuff, is that it doesn't quite fit into the tone of either of those movies.
No.
So I think I was kind of expecting to go maybe one way or the other, and it has a little bit more of a brevity to it, like or a levity. Sorry, not brevity, a levity. It is also, it's not super long. Hour 52. I didn't feel like we were in it doesn't feel like it's that long or anything. It's not like a super long movie, or, you are kind of in and you're out. The scenario presents itself. I did have fun. I think because I kept hearing Die Hard. You're right, Dave. Like they're using it in their marketing, so it wasn't like just a cinephile heard that in film people talking about it. Like, they want you to think about that when you're going into it. And I think I think the only thing that maybe let me down a little bit was that I was expecting I know what this movie's about, but honestly, I was expecting an element of I don't know. I was expecting, the first Die Hard was so refreshing, I think, because there was still, the action was shameless, and it was over the top in its own ways, but there was a realism to the way that John McClane kind of has to navigate the absurdity of that situation. that I don't know if this movie ever wanted you to feel like you're supposed to be grounded in any kind of reality. I kept having some questions as I was watching it, like, what are his powers? And is he just a man? And there was a history. So I still had fun.
But this shit on the roof, like, yeah.
Yeah, but this movie did end up leaving me with some plot holy informational kind of questions that ended up being a little annoying for me. All they had to do was I'll drink. All they had to do was establish some of these things early on. And I thought this was going to be kind of a painting by numbers formulaic movie. I was ready to just get all my information up front, establish these things, and then we can just have fun watching him kick everybody's ass. But I think there were a few holes that ended up kind of nagging for me a little bit, and they kind of tried to wrap up with some things we'll talk about later. But we got some Christmas characters you've seen before. We have these elements that everybody kind of expects from the Christmas movie. So I think if you go in with just all I'm trying to do is just have a little fun and laugh a little bit, I think you might be able to find that for yourself. What do you think, Dave?
I had a great time with this. My theater had a great time with this. Everyone was pissing themselves laughing, especially when they got into like the gratuitous violence of it. Everyone was like, this is what we came here for. It's called Violent Night. It's like when you go to watch fucking Hot Tub Time Machine, you know what you're in for. Yeah. And like the Christmas story that it starts off with, I was like, all right. There's, like they've set it up and it's set up very, very well, like almost like a family Christmas movie. They establish the house, they do that big walking, like one shot through the house. And my first thought was like, oh my God, everyone looks fucking miserable in this house. Like even the people who live there looked miserable. And so I settled in, and then it just turns the fucking thing on its head. And like, it doesn't ease you into Santa. Santa just is there. And it's a thing. I like that. Yeah, and the thing I love the most about this is the comedy in this is either it flip-flops between unexpected results and results that you're expecting, and when you get it, you get the payoff. So you get that little hit from like, yeah, that's what I was waiting for to happen. And I think they balance that really nicely for me. So I really enjoyed this. I had a great time. I clapped at least once or twice.
Wow.
While I was watching
one thing
it.
I will say, I think one thing that that hurt my viewing of this was I saw it this afternoon and there were only 3 other people in the theater.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. Yeah,
there was some, I heard some laughter, some giggles from the people that were, we weren't super close to each other, but I'm sure this would have been more fun with a crowd that was enjoying it and laughing along with it.
I had about 40 people in Dolby Cinema. It was going off. It was absolutely going on. Yeah, and you're right. You do need people in there with you. Because if you're sitting there laughing at this stuff by yourself, you're a fucking psychopath. So
I was also, I don't know what you did. I don't know when you saw it, but I was also cold sober. I think this gave me kind of stoner film kind of flicks too, that it's so broad. The comedy is so broad and the plot holes, there's such a nod to the audience, a little wink, wink from these directors, writers. They know that you're coming in there like no one is going to take this seriously, and you're not supposed to. No. You're supposed to just go in there and have a good time. I agree with you that this movie, we're not really talking crazy spoilers here. This movie is established with an opening scene where, because I went into this, I don't know about you, but I did not know from the trailer, and maybe I just had not seen the trailer enough, or maybe I really just hadn't seen it in detail, but I think I saw it once and I did not know that David Harbour was actually Santa Claus.
Well, you must have missed the bit where he goes up the chimney in the trailer.
Okay. Yeah, I really didn't. Okay, maybe I didn't even see it.
The trailer was the only thing I saw of this, so I didn't hear anyone mentioning Die Hard or
Home Alone. I'm glad I didn't.
I drew that. I drew those conclusions on my own from watching the trailer, and then again, they establish it really fast that like there's going to be a presence in this movie, which we'll talk about a little bit later because I really enjoyed that they managed to somehow turn that on its head a little bit too. Like if they make a sequel, make a sequel to this and he doesn't say how does the same thing happen to the same guy twice, I'm walking out of the theater.
It did have the feel, not necessarily in a cliffhanger kind of way, but I thought the same thing. I thought this could be the beginning of 2 or 3 of these. They could have some more fun. I could see them going and kind of homaging a bunch of our favorite Christmas franchises, kind of the way they did with this one. It'll always be violent, but I could see them kind of leaning into different styles of our favorite. They could do the Griswolds. They could do a Scrooged. They could do so many. I totally imagined one where like he was Scrooged. Like I could see him doing that kind of thing, and everybody's mad at him because he's not being into it. But this movie is established. Sorry, back to what we were saying earlier. This opening scene where he's super down and out, and it worked for me. It was like he was a bum, kind of just sad, drinking way too much, sad Santa. Had very bad Santa vibes to me, and you were like, oh, this motherfucker is actually Santa Claus, and he's just getting wasted before he has to go do this job that he's having trouble believing in anymore. He's not saying I want to quit. He's just disappointed that it's not fun anymore and that nobody believes anymore.
And
that's kind of
greed. The world is greed now.
Yeah.
It's and like, as soon as you give them one thing, they want the next thing. And it's like, he
has to go save this rich fucking family. That was one that was one thing that I was kind of, as the movie played on, I was like, I feel like that wasn't really the right... I don't know if that was the right family to save, considering he was so pissed off about greedy people. All they did was burn.
No, it was just this. There's one little girl in the middle of it that is nice, near the top of the nice list, despite the fucking family she's exposed to. So you're
right, and I was too obtuse with that opening. He's not just upset that the world is greedy. He says that children are greedy. So the whole turn of this movie relies on the fact that a really, really privileged young girl who's probably, between 7 and 10 years old, she doesn't want things. She wants, get ready, folks. Small spoiler alert, but it's in the exposition, so I don't feel too bad about it. She just wants her parents to get back together. So that's classic. We've seen that in Christmas movies. Wonderful, wonderful feast for the audiences. And that's the whole reason why Santa decides to turn into the fucking Viking king that I guess he was at one point.
That's right. Santa gets a backstory in this one as well, which is I dug that as well. There's some good little Santa exposition.
Let's turn the spoiler alert on so we can actually talk about
we really
should. That's really fun.
Also,
all right,
dude, like I just want to say, hats off to the stunt team on this because those fights look like they hurt.
And the way they filmed it too, they needed to look like they hurt because there wasn't a lot of cutting in at least 2 or 3 of the sequences. One of them was full of cuts, and that was probably my favorite sequence. But
I've noticed they're doing that a lot more. Like I said, they're doing that a lot more now with the long takes and like using the stunties to work, which I like. I love that, like because they've got the skills, they've got the talent. This was Dan Skeen was the stunt coordinator in this. He's a stunt performer from The Boys. And The Expanse, and he's a stunt coordinator on a show called Letterkenny that I haven't seen. He did 18 episodes of that apparently. So
Letterkenny's hilarious.
Great.
Good for him.
Is it violent?
I'm trying to think if there's like what violence is on that show. It's a funny show. I guess we have to give our credit and our nod to that influence coming from a trilogy we love, John Wick, soon to be a movie of 4. But yeah, these like long oneers, they definitely, there's one in the middle of this movie that is a really kick-ass movie in the dark where Santa decides I'm going to murder everybody. But there's a few where he's more in a self-defense mode that are very like almost one take. And these stunt people really get to act. Yep. It's fun watching them get to play their moments. I enjoyed that guy that has the star eventually. That's
my top 2 favorite kills in this movie.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was fun, man. The fact that they played it out. There's a point in this movie where this guy gets death by treetop star into the eye, and then David Harbour plugs it in and electrocutes him, and his head catches on fire. Yeah. It's fucking awesome.
And he's just sitting there burning.
The fact that they let it burn after he's already dead is that's why this is fun.
Like you get that YouTube clip of the guy copping the skateboard in the nuts or something, and you run up and show your mates. It's like, oh, that's what these are. That's what these kills are, and it makes you do that. And that's one of the reasons I recommend seeing this with a group of friends, because as a group, you will enjoy this way more than sitting in the theater by yourself. I just adopted friends. I was by myself in the theater, so
this is definitely one of those movies where in your rewatch, and maybe even in your first time, you might just want to hit the action scenes. The stuff in between isn't really necessary. And that's like, they know that. Like again, they're giving you these nods all the time. There's just enough information delivered about the family between to get you to the next thing. But otherwise, it's just kind of like...
The robbery subplot definitely has an arc. and a little bit of a twist.
It does have an arc. It does have an arc. And the robbers are led by the great and powerful John Leguizamo, who's of course super charismatic. I always love watching him.
He is having a renaissance. He's
having fun.
He's in the Menu. He's in this.
I still need to see the Menu. I know you guys did it without me.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm excited. Good. I still need to watch it. But I think what's so fun about this movie is the family is a wonderful backdrop. And there's a robbery that's happening where they're trying to rob from this very powerful, very privileged, very wealthy, multiple generation conglomerate kind of family. This whole thing takes place in their compound, in their house. So there's a giant robbery that's going on, just like in the damn it, what's the Die Hard building? Takawa? What's the name of the building where, it's a multinational corporation? Is their headquarters. So it's very similar. There's a giant, conspiratorial robbery that's been months in the work going on. This heist is happening. That background work is happening. The family is involved. They're all the hostages. So they have a little bit of an arc.
The family reminded me of the Ref, which I know you weren't too much of a fan of. Yeah. That's what the family reminded. It's almost like they took that element.
It really reminded me of that. I think Dave, in highlights to the Ref, which I think I wanted a little bit more of in this movie, was I wanted them to lean more into the absurd comedy of this dysfunctional family and the family
can't stop. Yeah,
the nuclear family at the center of this story, that's surrounded by their extended family. They ended up kind of casting them as kind of serious actors. Do you know what I mean? Like I believed what they did, but the main son, the main daughter-in-law, and their main child, I kind of wanted them to be a little bit more zany. I kind of thought if this whole family was dysfunctional and inappropriate and screaming at each other.
That was the only thing I faulted this movie on. I didn't like the wrap-up of the mom and dad storyline.
At least not the way that they ended up executing it. And maybe if they were, more like horrible people that I kind of hated and they ended up realizing we're horrible people and we belong together, maybe it would have been like funny and I would have liked it a little bit more. But they played it very sincere.
Yeah. I'm wondering, did they film an alternate scene where he grew a pair and saved her?
Maybe, because his pussiness kind of came out of nowhere for me. They hadn't established that at all, that he was totally incapable of.
He was kind of like that to his mother, and then he was like that in the house. That was there, but I felt like he needed something more there for that resolve to work.
Yeah, I wanted. Yeah, I know what you mean, dude. I think I totally agree. Some of the other extended family members, as we get into Christmas Vacations and our Home Alones, some of them were really fun little character moments. I enjoyed laughing. It was fun.
When he gave her the fucking script treatment for Christmas.
Yeah, his pitch deck. If you want to turn to the back, you got all the financial information on there. What's a better Christmas gift than a golden opportunity? That was pretty funny. I like the asshole little... he's the nephew of the main family, the grandson of the main matriarch. But again, he was kind of a good-looking kid, believable as that kind of influencer. I just wondered what would have happened if this kid was like a kind of an ugly little asshole that just probably had no followers, but was still living that kind of life. Whereas I kind of thought that that kid probably has tens of thousands of followers because he's a rich little good-looking prick.
Yeah. Did you see his mid-credits scene? He has just a little.
No, I had to run home. I got out of there at like 6:45. I was rushing home.
Yeah, no, he just has a little quick mid-credit scene where he's like streaming above the dead guy. He's like, "Yeah, this guy behind me, totally dead."
It was a great idea. It was still, of course, it still made me laugh.
Yeah,
I still was enjoying that. Set decoration, production design. That house is fucking awesome. As we want a lot from our nice Christmas movies. It was fun to move through the space. There was this. What did you think of this sequence? There is a sequence, folks, where the sound editors and the composers took a big bold step, and they were like, "You know what? When Santa sews himself up after getting some knife injuries, we're gonna put some music underneath this that's gonna make you think." I kind of thought that was going to be their opportunity while he was in pain, and we saw him with his shirt off and his tribal tattoos from his Viking days. I thought that they were going to take us way back and we were just going to see his whole little mini expositional, how did we get here story. Do you feel like you got enough information about his, or are they saving it for the sequel?
I'm kind of glad they didn't, to be honest. I feel like we got enough to know that when he gets his hands on a weapon, it's not going to go well. Like,
because he used to be,
and so when they showed that hammer, you were like, "Oh fuck!" Like, yeah. So
wasn't there
it got the reaction out of me.
Wasn't there just a little bit of you that I didn't? I mean, they didn't even infer how he became Santa Claus. Like,
no,
there was no.
He literally again
tissue.
He said, "It's Christmas magic. I don't understand how it works either." Like they didn't they established that he doesn't know. He just established that, like he says, I was the top of the naughty list. So something happened to make him.
He was like a Viking warrior. And then they don't tell you anything about how he became Santa Claus. It's fine. Our expectations for this kind of movie, we don't need all the info, but I was a little bit like, just tell me something, like just to give me a little hint that, are you a wizard? Did a wizard touch you? Is this like a Shazam kind of thing where
I was fine to let that go? I got enough out of that. All that was for was to let you know why and how he's kicking these guys' asses and killing them. Like that was all that served to me, and it served it perfectly.
Very good.
When we got to
1 out of 2 love of cinema critics was perfectly satisfied. Yes. So my favorite sequence, Dave, was by far the barn sequence.
Oh yeah.
In terms of Violent Night, Kick Ass, it's the really big, it's the longest one, it's the most obvious one. The music worked for me.
I love the contrast they were doing was great. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. And it was kind of, I guess, what I thought I was expecting the whole movie to kind of feel like. Not that I wanted it to be one note, but there were 2 or 3 really fun action fight sequences with Santa and some henchmen before this midpoint sequence where in this midpoint, he kind of accepts, he's talking to the little girl through walkie-talkie, and he kind of just accepts, I'm a violent man and I found a hammer. I used to kill with a hammer back in the day, and I'm going to kill everybody now that I've got a hammer in my hands again.
You know what I got? You know what I got from this? He was like, he didn't want to resort to that sort of thing, but then when the strike team showed up and the strike team had turned bad, and he opens up the naughty list, and it just like he had 2 left, and it turns into 8, and it's like when you get that editing job that's supposed to take 3 days and 2 weeks later you're still sitting there making fucking adjustments and you're just like, fuck it, let's go. And you take the acclaim with a hammer. No. Been there. No. Sure. I'm not advocating that, anyone who edits.
We've all wanted to kill our boss.
It was a case of, you know what, fuck it, let's do this. And then he got his hands on that hammer, and that was the moment I was waiting for from all of that build up, like the thing where he tells the story about his hammer and everything. And like that built up to that moment perfectly for me. So when we got to it, it was just, he's down. This guy's in a fucking snowplow. It's like, it was great.
Yeah. All the innovation with the violence there was really fun. But the fights leading up to it, I kind of felt like they were more like self-defense. Yeah. Did you feel that way too?
Absolutely. Like he was not fighting. He wasn't really fighting back. He was fighting for survival.
Which was a fun turn. Again, I think I wanted a little bit of just a single line, a single moment, just a teeny bit of, I wish they would have told me why he wasn't trying to fight them. Like why he didn't, like what was the connective thing between the monster that he used to be thousands of years ago, or whatever it was, 1100, I think was the year, and the Santa Claus magic man that he is now. Why didn't he respond to that first guy as, you better be careful, I used to be someone else? Like he did say in the second fight, he does have the line in the second fight, I really don't want to kill you.
Yeah.
But, so they were beginning to say like, there's something about this man.
Yeah.
But I think I would have, if they had set the movie up from the very beginning of not just, I'm disappointed, kids are greedy, and this sucks. I think if they had set this movie up as, I'm not doing this again after tonight. This is my last time. I'm fucking done. I think I want to go back and I want to become just a fucking murderer because I fucking hate everybody. And he ended up like taking out these things and realizing, no, you got to fight for a reason. I think it would have fed it a little bit more for me. But again,
when you think about it, like that whole thing was put there for the purpose of, if you'd gone and seen this with a group of friends, you would have been like, what was his fucking life like? And it would have given you something to talk about as you're walking out of the theater. And that's one of the things I love about film when it does that. Like you walk out of the theater and you have questions. And
Violent Night, The Thinker.
It's a thinker film. It's an intellectual Christmas movie.
Paul Schrader says you should always the fourth act should live out on the sidewalk outside the theater.
It mashes up Christmas elements and a couple of heads.
Yeah, let's give it up for a couple. What was her name? Help me out, Dave. Beverly D'Angelo from Mrs. Griswold,
playing a very different character to the Griswold that she is known for.
That was fun. That was fun seeing her for sure. Let's talk about some performances.
She was an absolute fucking bitch, and she leant right into it.
She was great. I was telling Dave before the show started, I've been rewatching some Entourage for no really wonderful reason other than I just really love laughing at Jeremy Piven, and I love laughing at
Jeremy Piven's
Mr.
the
Dillon, Johnny Drama Dillon. His just fucking hilarious. But anyway, Beverly D'Angelo is in that show. She plays a very powerful, boss bitch kind of powerful agent who eventually, has a lot of power on that show alongside Jeremy Piven's character. And so it was fun. I just hadn't seen her do anything much since that show, which was almost a decade and a half ago at this point.
Yeah, I mean, she turned up in the Vacation movie that I watched a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, I assume she was in that, but yeah.
Only for a second.
She was really good. I laughed quite a bit at Edie Patterson, who plays kind of the scheming, greedy, desperate daughter to Beverly D'Angelo. It's
almost like it was the middle child, almost like there was a child missing or something. Because she was just never, no matter what she did, she was not liked.
It was desperate for sure. Yeah. I felt kind of bad for some of those actors because I feel like on their casting call, most of them never left that den, did they? They went to that location every day for however long they were on set. They had the exterior at the very end, but most of them, the secondary family, Edie Patterson and her family, I don't think they ever left that room.
Yeah, they got to stay nice and warm.
They were just chilling in there.
I want to say that
Ken Gigandit, the guy who played Morgan Steele, her husband, the actor who presented the pitch deck.
Yeah, he lent into that role.
That was pretty funny. I have a very strong feeling there's like 15 extra minutes of scenes that they cut together with those people just fucking with each other and being.
I have a feeling there's a lot more. I wouldn't surprise me if there's like a director's cut of this gets released on like Blu-ray or something.
I would have had fun watching that. I think I wanted a little bit more of that because after they established it kind of quickly, it kind of just turned into them kind of bitching to each other whenever we would go back to the family and away from the robbers or away from Santa. And I kind of wanted to see just a little bit more of their absurd family dynamic with them. Like they're still being themselves completely in front of these people who are about to kill them. Like that's how shitty they are.
Yeah, they can't not be.
We have very cute.
They're like the Scorpion.
They have a very cute, very sweet Leah Brady, who plays Trudy Lightstone, who's kind of the main granddaughter, who's our child surrogate.
Stop you there. Very sweet. She had way too much fun maiming those fucking people during that Home Alone sequence.
I really enjoyed that, man. That is the Home Alone moment of this Home Alone Die Hard matchup.
Someone should keep an eye on her.
Blood everywhere. That was
like for real. The thing I loved was they sat the booby trap was on the ground with all the nails and razor blades, and he walks up and literally steps around it. He's like, you realize the booby traps are supposed to be hidden. Then he sees the nail. He's like, and steps over that. But that wasn't the trap. The trap was the floorboard above it. And he falls and misses. So instead of it going through his foot that you're expecting, and this is one of the times they turned it on his head, it went straight through his chin. And then they cut to a big fucking close-up where you can see the thing moving around inside his mouth. And I was like, like that looked painful.
That was great.
It was awesome.
That was great. I kind of
that whole sequence,
that was so well. That was so well done.
That and the hair ripped off with the glue.
It was great. That was so well done. That I'm not gonna lie. That kind of made me wish, like, why is there only one of these sequences? Like that was so smart. The way that they took our favorite Home Alone gags and made them R-rated.
I'm wondering, was this originally intended as a PG movie? And then somewhere through there, they just went, you know what? Fucking go for it. Like, I'm wondering, like,
maybe.
Yeah. Did it have a rating change in the middle and they gave them the green light to just go R-rated?
just to get fucking good. Because
I
that was
want to
a
look
fun
that up
sequence
later. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun sequence. I did enjoy that. Yeah. So anyway, everybody does their job. Again, I think that maybe no offense. I'm not faulting the actors at all. Alex Hassel and Alexis Louder, who play kind of the main couple beneath Beverly D'Angelo. It's her son. I assume it's her oldest son, who seems to be very much involved with the family business, and his wife, who they're having some issues. They ended up going a slightly more sincere route. They're not broad, goofy, unattractive, funny comedic actors who are there to just, kind of have a real life love story. It kind of felt a little Hallmarky, which again, I think they did that on purpose. It's almost like they wrapped up, like they kind of brought a Hallmark family Christmas element into this as well.
Yeah,
the way that they portrayed them.
They brought a gun to a card fight. Yeah.
Yeah. So really, honestly, there's like, this is very much like a hodgepodge of a bunch of different like Christmas genre movies.
Yeah. Every time you think you're in one genre, it turns its head and it's something else, which worked for it. It
felt
worked
that way.
Like, and then you get like, the snowmobile chase at the end, and then the big final fight. And fuck me, dude, that chimney kill was my favorite in the whole film.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did that work for you?
Yeah, that totally
I knew we were going.
As soon as he slammed him up against it, I knew something was going to happen, but I didn't fucking expect that.
I thought he was gonna go up the chimney and then jump down with like a 300 hammer moment and like just braid him. But that was just brought out his midsection. That was pretty funny. John Leguizamo getting sucked up through a chimney. Santa's magic, I guess. So he just like turns into matter and then rematerializes on the top. But he drags John Leguizamo up with him and basically tears off his legs and his neck and his arms on the way up the chimney. Pretty fucking brutal, man. I did enjoy that as well.
That was a fun one.
John Leguizamo's his little arc of why he hates Christmas so much. It was established. Like, I can't say that it wasn't established. He has a very long monologue where he kind of tells you why. There's a little bit of me that wonders if they had pushed that monologue sooner in the story, so that not only was that how he felt internally, it was part of his motivation for why he likes to rob people on Christmas. I think that would have been fun for me to know that, like, I fucking hate this holiday.
Yeah.
And I know the Lightstones always celebrate and have this, that family.
Like I got through that monologue, but when he turned around and called him by his name, I was like, oh, like, because they were dealing with like, is it or isn't it? And then he started calling everyone by their name and telling them what he bought them and shit. And I was like, that was great for me. That was like it was a tense moment, and it gave some of the power back to Santa, because it was it's a really cool like directed moment for me, because when he did that, they started to believe he got more powerful both in the film and in my eyes.
Yeah.
So I found that sequence very, very well directed.
It was a standout. I agree with you. It was a standout moment for me where you finally got to, because the one element that, of course, I was waiting for the whole time, and that was the scene that really establishes it. They kind of abandon it after that. But that was the only moment in the film where the regular people, the robbers, really got to start getting in their own heads about, is this real? Is he actually Santa? And it really, do you agree with me? They kind of go away from that as soon as that's over, because none of the other henchmen really come in that kind of contact with him.
Yeah, he has that moment of realization and then just discounts it for the violence. Like, you're not going to get through to him, but he put him off balance for a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of wish they had used that a little bit more. But when the kill squad shows up and that one guy's like, it might be the real Santa. He's like, what the fuck did he just say? Like, I felt there was some fun lingering where, like, okay, some of them do think he's real. But I kind of thought that was going to end up being like a chain reaction. Like, in some way, everyone was going to come in contact with him and they were going to be like, Santa? And then he was going to fucking just cut their heads off. Dave, was there a little bit of you? Because there was a little bit of me that was kind of hoping at some point there was going to be no other solution than to call in the elves, and they were going to come like fucking
Jesus,
eat people's esophaguses out of their throat.
Dude, you got to save something for the sequel.
That's confidence right there. That is a lot of confidence that they're going to save it for the sequel.
I mean,
but
this is so enjoyable, and I think everyone that I've like heard of that's seen it has had a great time watching it. I feel like it's going to become a little bit of a Christmas cult classic, and I feel like they will try and push out a second one. I mean, Harbour rocked it. He's like, I enjoyed this way more than his Hellboy, but so did everyone.
Oh yeah, sure. Don't introduce a low bar this late in the show, David. I could easily see this getting. I could see them having more and more fun with how they subvert all of our favorite Christmas movies and favorite Christmas genres. All the while, he's just this. We learn more and more about his past as, what did he call himself? Klut the Destroyer or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Pretty good. Anyway, that was fun.
Yeah. And I tell you, anyone who doesn't like how this ends, because it does end it reverts right back to the Christmas movie ending. Like I said, it bookends it. Anyone who doesn't like the ending has really forgotten how to be a kid.
Yeah, I may have forgotten how to be a kid, Dave. That may be.
You can find it. Spielberg found it. You can find it.
I like the wrap up. Which part are you talking about? Because I just didn't like the burning of the money.
No, where everyone's sitting around suddenly saying they believe, and it literally brings him back from the dead, and then they make a comic reference to it later.
That was fine with me because they established, I don't know how Christmas magic works. Sure, it's fine. Fuck it, it works. And we got a great shot of Santa flying off into the moon, know, with Merry Christmas. Like, that was totally fine with me. I think the family wrap up put that pebble in my shoe as we were moving toward I Believe in You, Santa. Right before that, the solution to keeping him warm is to burn a bag of their money. And it felt like, why the fuck is that even in there? Who cares?
No, I found that as the last piece of development for the dad. Like, he's willing to sacrifice the money that he stole to save this guy.
To save the guy, yeah, but he had already sacrificed it for saving his family.
Yeah, but they had it again. Like, they vanquished all the foes. That money was just sitting there. It was still theirs. And
that's true. But I didn't see a moment where he didn't want to give it up.
Yeah.
If he was trying to like keep it and they were like, no, this is his learning moment where he's not going to keep it. He's going to burn him. I don't know. It's such a tiny little thing. It was just
on that same note,
there.
And that one little piece of plot line there, I love that they didn't reveal what was on the note until later. Like, just the look she gives him when she reads that note, where he lays out what he's done. She was supposed to read that the next morning. I love that wasn't revealed till later, because that look that she gave him was fucking piercing. It was
great.
It was hate, but also admiration.
Yeah, and and they clarified. I like her little. It's such a throwaway little speech because they're moving when they do it. It's just transitional moment where she's like, "I respect I had to take it from my grandfather, and now you're taking it from me. I fucking love that." We're talking about Beverly D'Angelo as the matriarch, CEO of the company, we assume, and her son, Alex Hassel, the oldest son, who we were talking about earlier. He basically steals this money, and that's why this whole heist has gone awry. But I did like that moment. Dave. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What happened to? Again, it's a Christmas movie. The stuff doesn't really matter, but even the way that they shot her, Beverly D'Angelo's big execution moment where she's standing right beside the guy, they just showed us a wide shot where she wasn't there. And he's like a Navy SEAL kind of fighter, and then she's standing beside him when we know that snow makes noise. I didn't like that resolve.
Yeah,
I thought she was just going to shoot him from a distance, and that would have been fine for me.
That would have been great for me.
She's like 10 feet behind him, and the camera pivots, and she's like right behind his head.
Yeah, right behind him. Pop him.
Yeah. That would have been great for me. So there were a couple moments at the end that took away from what you're talking about, where I Believe in You, Santa. I Believe in You, Santa did not bother me. That's every Christmas movie, and we're expecting it. But the things leading up to it, I was like, what a shame. There's some funny actors in here. And you kind of made them seem like they were just devices to get to I Believe in You, Santa. And I was like, I think we may have missed some comedy opportunities.
I love that this was like finally kind of like a David Harbour vehicle that worked. And it worked perfectly. He nailed this role to a T.
I want to go deeper with him. I know, more. That's
the writing. That's not his. He had no control over that. Like,
No, it's fine. That opening Bad Santa moment, though, like I was like, I want the movie to feel like this. I want it to be like realistic, and him like if Bad Santa is actually Santa and he goes and he fucking snaps and he kills everybody. Like I want to see them explore that. The number 2 is usually the dark one, isn't it? Dave? It's the Empire Strikes Back of Violent Nights.
The hammer was sitting in the sleigh. You can bet that he's taking that with him next year.
Oh, it's going to be brutal. I also can't wait to see who they cast as Mrs. Claus. Yeah. Any guesses? Who do you think was sitting at home?
I have no idea.
I hope it's somebody funny. I kind of hope it's Amy Schumer. I don't know why I kept thinking.
I'd also take Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates, I think she's too old. But I like where your head's at. I thought maybe Melissa McCarthy or someone that's in that vein, like a really powerful but serious kind of person, like who has both of those elements as an actor, somebody funny, but also has a lot of power and prowess. I could see them doing that. Anyway, I was thinking about her. She had a strong character, even though they never show the actor.
You know what would have been great? The Sonic sequel, the woman whose wedding got ruined, and she went.
I never saw that one. Y'all did that one without me.
Oh no. There's a woman, I can't remember her name for the life of me, but like, she was the sister in the first one who like hated him basically, and then she's getting married and they ruin her wedding, and she just goes full fucking Rambo on them. And like
there's a whole sister
there's a whole sequence in this golf cart where she just drives the golf cart, slides to the side, steps out of it with like fucking weapons and stuff. It's great. She'd be perfect. Okay. She stole that whole movie for about 15 minutes. But I cannot remember her name.
Anyway,
yeah,
some fun things. If we got handed the keys to the car for the sequel, even for someone like me who maybe didn't like it quite as much as Dave, they have established enough for them to do pretty much whatever the fuck they want with the next couple movies. So I think they could get away with murder, if you will. Haha. Buzz me for that, Dave.
All right, we've been a light buzzing show.
That was fun. I still had a good time. Go see it, folks. Enjoy yourself.
Absolutely. If you haven't already. Hopefully you've all seen it already. Otherwise, we just ruined the fuck out of it for you. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's wrap this thing up. We usually do our usual. Dave will go around the horn as in back and forth since there's only 2 of us. Jeff, we miss you.
It's a circle,
what you've been watching is what we do. I've been busy as fuck. But Dave, what have you been watching?
I went back for a little bit of a revisit. I watched Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame this week.
You went straight to the finales?
Yeah.
You didn't watch any of the first gen?
Remember, I was kind of disappointed by Endgame when I saw it in the theaters because I waited too long to go and see it and there wasn't much of a crowd and stuff. But
this wasn't your first time rewatching those since then?
No, it's like
it
was like the third time.
Fourth?
But it's my first time since Phase 4 when they revealed how bad it could fucking get. So guys, nothing happened in Phase 4, and it made me appreciate Endgame like even more. Like when I got to the end of that, I was almost tearing up. So yeah, I still love Infinity more than Endgame. Absolutely.
But you are completely right. Like whatever is happening now is lacking something that seemed to really just permeate all the way through those middle ones, climaxing into very long and very complicated plotline wise and emotional wise with what was happening to those characters. Did it make you yearn? Did it make you want to just fucking press play on Iron Man 1?
A little bit. Yeah. And as that whole series up to that point as a whole is great. I'm wondering, was it a little bit of the Bob Chapek thing where he was meddling, the former CEO of Disney now, because he was very, very focused on streaming, and there was a rumor that Feige was getting really stretched thin.
In these four,
in the Phase 4,
yeah.
There was a rumor Feige was getting really stretched thin with all the streaming stuff they were trying to put out. So like it's possible the film stuff, but then there was the directive where they were told to keep them under 2 hours for 2 of those movies, and like stuff like that. So it was I know it's certainly come out since that Chapek was definitely focusing on the streaming side more than the cinema release. The one good thing about Iger coming back is he's handed the release of the films back to the studio. So they decide where it goes,
yeah.
which is, they're the people who work in that. They work in that. They should be the ones deciding, does this go for a cinema release? Yes, it does. And maybe we'll finally get some fucking Pixar movies back in the theaters because he rammed all of those straight to Disney Plus. They were so mad.
And I missed all of them, and I heard they were great.
Mm.
And what did we learn from, our episode on Wakanda Forever? Ryan Coogler and Kevin Feige, I still think that's probably my favorite one from this new phase.
Oh, absolutely.
Phase 4.
Yeah.
And yet we had some complaints. It still wasn't as good as maybe we wanted it to be, but it was still refreshing.
I think there was a big fight over that one. I'm willing to bet he was shorten it, and he was like, go fuck yourself. Like, I'm not cheating Chadwick out of what he's earned. Like, because that one felt like the first 2 or 3 phases. It felt like it might not have been as strong as some of them, but it still belongs in this caliber. Yep.
Whereas I've already kind of forgotten about the other. I hate saying that. I know they put a lot of money and time into it, and I respect everybody that works on them, but I totally agree with you, Dave. I haven't touched since we all talked about the franchise Face Off. I think I watched quite a bit of the, I started again at the beginning, and I went through, and I think I skipped. I love you, Paul Rudd, but I think I skipped the Ant-Mans. But I watched all of the other ones leading up into Infinity War and Endgame, and I had a great time.
To be honest, I think Quantumania might be where he finds his footing.
Like, it definitely looks like a better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks better. The trailer looks good. I'm excited. Open eyes. We'll go into it. We'll see what we think. Yeah. Good for you, man. That's fun. I've been thinking about watching just because it does seem like I want to give Marvel that redemption.
Yeah. Also, I've been watching on Hulu, Little Demon. It's an animated show. It's about a girl who's she lives with her mother and finds out on her, I think it's around about her 12th or 13th, somewhere between 12th and 13th birthday, she gets her period at school and finds out she's the fucking Antichrist. And that her dad's the devil, and her dad is playing. It is not serious. It's absolutely fucking hilarious. This animated show. Her dad is Danny DeVito. The devil is Danny DeVito, and Aubrey Plaza is the mother. So you can imagine. You can imagine it there's F-bombs. It's not safe for work at all, and it's fucking hilarious.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm also going to ask you to give me your pitch because, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host won't shut the fuck up in our text thread about Wednesday. And why is it? Why is it so good? Y'all keep talking about it. Did you talk about it last week? Is that why you're not talking about it now?
Yeah. Well, I talked about it last week. I watched that in 2 hits in a day.
Is it real? Wow, really?
It is so good. They rebalance the character to give her a little bit of real world stuff. So it's got the Wednesday sass, but she's also acting like a human. Thing is in it. They pull back on the rest of the family because this is about Wednesday at college. So there's this whole Nancy Drew style mystery thing going on. There's at least 2 mystery threads, and it's what the fuck is going on in this school? So there's kind of
Wednesday
a Harry Potter.
Adams is solving a mystery.
Several mysteries. There's a
Weird.
mystery.
Okay.
Yeah, there's several. I won't go too far into it, but there's several mysteries they set up that she has to deal with, and they put her with this plucky fucking blonde roommate who is a baby werewolf, basically. Who hasn't turned yet, and she's
a creature school. It's a magic school.
They send her to a special school because she throws piranhas in the pool at the normal school. So, that's in the trailer. That's not a spoiler, and the lines revolving around that are quite good as well. But yeah, the Wednesday sass that we all love is there. They brought the character in and made her a little more mature because she is. Tim Burton is just directing half of these episodes, and it's just a fucking masterpiece.
Wow. When was the last time he made a movie?
I can't remember.
This is what he's been working on. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And he's done well. They set enough up in this season to have 2 fucking season 2s. So yeah.
Look, it's
good.
Both of you are praising the shit out of it. Jeff's not here tonight, but he was texting us saying how much he was loving it too.
Yeah, he's probably finished his gig and he's fucking watching it right now.
I'll press play on it at some point. That's exciting, man.
Give it a look. It's good fun.
Good. I saw, and I've been busy. That's why I missed the 2 weeks. So I really haven't watched much. Been watching a little bit of that Entourage just to keep me laughing. Been really, really news central recently. But did I talk to you about Bardo? Did I say last time I was on that I saw
No.
Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths by It's Alejandro Inarritu's new movie?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. We're drunk by the end of the show a lot. So
yeah, I know. I literally can never remember what the fuck we said because we're always tipsy or drunk.
I have to go back through the episode to make the graphics. Like,
I believe it.
And that's just for me.
Somehow Dave mixes down these episodes. Sometimes, not every night, but he usually does mix down these episodes after we do these shows, which is crazy. Anyway, Bardo was a very long, and it's on the serious side. You know, it's a serious movie, but man, I can't say it enough. I hope everybody goes to see it. This was one of the best things I've ever seen in my entire life. Like I can't say enough about it.
Is it it's in theaters now?
It's going to, I know Netflix is doing their, limited Netflix release to theaters to be considered for awards. 16th, I believe.
That's only 7 days they need to be there.
Which is the same. Right. So it's the same weekend as Avatar, which is a risk, but I know it's going to stay in there for several weeks so they can qualify for awards. But it's got some controversy coming out of it. It's a very trippy film. It is a very personal film for him. It's kind of like his shit. What was the Coron film from 2018? The black and white one that he made about Mexico, about growing up in Mexico. Roma. It's kind of like his Roma, but it's much more Inarritu. It's very compelling. It's very evocative. It's visually stimulating. It's not this slow, panning black and white thing. It's challenging in different ways, but I recommend everyone go try to watch this movie if you can, or take it very seriously at home. You probably haven't had an experience like this in a long time, or maybe ever, but I had like a religious experience in the cinema. It was unbelievable.
That's a good review.
So anyway, I've been haven't been doing much other than that. I've been busy with school shit, but ready to get back to movies, dude. Let's do it. What do we got next week? Do we know what we're doing next week?
Big blue meanies.
Yeah, dude.
Wait, hang on. Next week is. God. Wait, next week's only the 12th. Is that what we're doing next week? Yeah, next week's only the. No, it's the week after because it comes out.
Avatar's the 16th.
It comes out of my birthday weekend. Yes.
Well, check our socials.
James Cameron always gives me Avatar for my birthday. Whenever he releases one, he gives it to me for my birthday.
Oh, Dave, not quite a Capricorn. What are you, Sagittarius?
Yes.
Yeah.
Explains a lot, right?
It does. I'm a Capricorn. That's why Dave and I.
The alcoholism and all those arrows.
I'm finally ready to see. Do you feel like, am I the only one who has felt like half of this year, or for the better part of this year, there have been 2 trailers where I keep seeing blue people swimming underwater? Wakanda Forever and Avatar. I was like, did they talk? Did they know both of them were doing this? Like,
Avatar was established when the first movie was made. I just heard that they bullied Avatar: The Last Airbender to change their name. It was originally just called Avatar, and they had to add The Last Airbender because James Cameron had came at them over Avatar. But in Black Panther, the Wakanda Forever, those guys are established as blue because they turn blue when they get out of the water.
Right.
It was quite funny, actually. I went to the dentist recently, and my dentist, I found out about the show, and so she's probably listening to this. But yeah, well, my dental hygienist one of the hygienists found out about the show, so she might be listening to this.
They listen to it while they're working on people.
Yeah, right. But she actually, in seeing that, thought that they'd done a crossover and brought Avatar into the Marvel universe, and I'm like, I can see how that could be
2 gigantic blockbustery films, and there's blue people swimming underwater, and look, I get it. Yeah. Well, anyway, we're excited to do it. Check our show notes. We'll do something next week.
I can't remember. I can't remember what we're doing next week. It's a list.
I don't know.
Somewhere.
So many good movies coming out. Yeah. So I'm excited for this season. That'll be my biggest pitch before we sign off. Anyone who hasn't been going to the movies, this has been an incredible year of movies. See all the ones that everybody's talking about. Treat yourself. This has been remarkable. Hasn't been this good since 2019.
I showed last night. Trace and I sat down and watched Don't Worry, Darling.
She had fun?
She had a great time. When it got to the twist, hands over her mouth, shocked. Like she did not see that coming at all. Yeah.
Somebody that I know saw it at home.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And they enjoyed it as well. They had fun. So I'm glad we saw it. Glad we talked about it. Anyway, this is great.
Yeah.
All right, film fans. Jeff, I'm going to, the last thing I see tonight will be one of your photos of your AI self. Here's just one last time for the YouTubers. That is fucking weird.
Let's just exit on that. Leave it up there. We'll just exit on that.
That is, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. We'll see you next week, film fans. Have a great fucking week.
Oh, jeez.